Good morning and welcome. Happy Thursday. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and it's a happy day. If you took my advice, got yourself diversified, got yourself into gold. I don't know if you've seen, do you feel liberated yet? It is Liberation Day, so we got the reciprocal tariffs and a whole lot more yesterday from President Trump. It was a very big list. I will give you some short versions. Anybody that we don't trade a lot of stuff with got hit with 10%. Okay. Anybody that we actually do business with, a lot of business with, yeah, they got hammered. China was at 20%. Right now, that was before. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think China was going to, at 20%, I was like, okay, that's probably what it's going to be. Add 34% on top of it. Yeah. 54% tariffs on anything and everything coming out of China. Japan, 24%. India, 26%. The entire EU, 20%. Vietnam, 46%. And there's more, but those are the big ones, right? Those are the big ones. Like I said, everybody got hit for 10, right? That was kind of like, okay, the low water mark. The auto thing is in full effect now. I heard Stellantis is laying off and idling all their plants in Canada and Mexico. I'm not kidding. It's absolutely insane. Wall Street is getting absolutely devastated right now. Matter of fact, the only thing not devastated is gold. Gold was down in Asian trading, yesterday after the announcement. And it made sense, right? And we see this a lot. When Wall Street has major sell-offs, you usually get a sell-off in gold. Mostly, and especially, for the last, 20 years. Because they got to try to offset losses, right? And so they immediately sell their positions. At one point this morning, gold was down 70. That didn't last very long. We'll look in at the gold markets here in a minute, but it has come roaring back. Everybody very concerned. This was much worse than expected, I guess, on the tariff front. A lot of people were caught off guard by this. I will say this. Obviously, I've been very critical of how this is rolled out. For everybody out there that wanted, hey, yes, this is bull crap. They're taking advantage. Listen, I get it. It sounds great. But that was the plan, right? That was the plan. Why? Why was that the plan? So we could have cheap stuff so they could tell us we didn't have inflation when we really did. Why? Why? So the government can spend way beyond their means and we can get these countries to buy our debt. Right? Get them addicted to our dollars. And it worked. Listen, it worked. Free trade, NAFTA, GATT, that crap worked for a little while. For a little while. Now all of a sudden we're like, whoa, wait. You guys aren't buying our debt anymore? Right? You got BRICS now. You want to, dump dollars, right? We're down to 57%. That's it. Well, you know what? Okay, well, guess what? Now we want it all back. It really, truly doesn't work that way. And I'll say this. The other part that worries me, Lutnick, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I think this guy's a clown. And Howard Lutnick, he was the guy, Cantor Fitzgerald, the one guy that didn't go to work on 9/11. That was him. That's this guy. And he's out there already saying, hey, you know what? These guys need to re-examine their policies. Right? And then if they do, we'll lower the tariffs. Well, then that means these companies aren't going to do anything. Right? You guys do understand that, right? Hey, guys, if they make some changes and the tariff only goes to 10%, well, then we're not going to move any factories. We'll just wait it out. Yeah. It's not passing the sniff test. We'll give you a market update when we get back. 800-951-0592. I guess Liberation Day is here. And it's not very liberating. The Dow is down. You know what? I'll say that at least it could be worse. It's only down 1,450 right now. The S&P is down 230 plus points. Wow. The NASDAQ down almost 1,000 points on the NASDAQ. The 10-year note all the way down to 403. At one point today, it was down almost 20 basis points. I've never seen it. I mean, it's incredible. Why? Oh. Here's the thing. This goes on for any length of time, right? They are worried about not just the recession here, but something very bad globally. We'll see, it's only not even 24 hours yet. Right now, crude oil's down 5 as the Mideast, they didn't get hit very hard. Of course, we don't buy anything from them, right? But OPEC's going to ramp up production by 440,000 barrels of oil. Essentially, they're going to replace the oil from Venezuela. That's what they agreed to do today. It's got the oil market down today, which, hey, I'll take it, right? I'll take it. That's probably the only good thing. The dollar is getting absolutely hammered right now. And you would think kind of the opposite, but this is the Forex markets, right? Saying this is a big sign of weakness. The crypto space, right? Bitcoin down almost $5,000 right now. Gold back above 3,100, down about $20 right now, 3,115. Listen, gold's been all over the board. Matter of fact, about 10 minutes ago, it was actually up about $3 or $4. And I expect gold to be volatile all day. I expect it to be volatile all day. If Wall Street goes down even more, right? Gold will sell. But then Listen, at one point, gold was all the way down to 3,050. 3,050. So it shows you how much the markets came pouring in to gold. Every gold dip is going to be bought, period. You need to get protected here. I don't understand what it is you really thought was going to happen here. Now, silver down $1.80. Matter of fact, the gold to silver ratio back to 97. Why? Well, got to remember, silver industrial, they're very worried that this is going to lead to a massive and almost immediate recession, a big one. Right now, just to give you an idea, Stellantis says that it's going to halt production at 2 assembly plants in Canada and Mexico as they are trying to deal with these 25% tariffs. As a result, 900 U.S. representative employees at supporting plants are getting laid off. In addition, 4,500 hourly workers are going to be laid off as well. And, Jason, we're hearing from companies like Nike. Nike, they don't make any shoes. They're making them all in Vietnam. 46% tariffs. Everybody seemingly. Here's the thing. I don't get it. What did they think was going to happen? And I think part of it is, well, it won't be that bad. And because you listen to this clown Lutnick, the guy's a clown. Larry Kudlow, the guy is a clown. Right? You guys do know this, right? And here's the thing. The only smart thing they did is at least they waited for the markets to close yesterday. If this had come out while the markets were open, I think the Dow would be down 3,000 points instead of 1,500. That's how bad and unprepared the markets truly were. And when we sit here and we think as to how in the world, and it was really simple. I think it was gold in one of them. It really looked like anybody that had big trade deficits with us, Jason, they just dropped the hammer on it. And you know what? The bigger the trade deficit, the higher the tariff was.
Yeah, obviously the tariff talk has been the number one thing economically that's on everybody's list right now, right, Joe? And it's now that it looks like it's not a bluff, right? I think there were still holdouts even up to yesterday, though. Oh, I don't know. This could still be a bluff, right? And so now I think for whatever reason, maybe Trump didn't feel like he was getting the respect he deserved. He's pushing through with it. He's like, look, you believe me now, and so. They need the money. Listen, they need the money. Right. And let's not lie. Joe and I, we talk before we go on the air each day just to make sure we're on the same page when we're heading into these 3 hours of radio. And I had mentioned to him that the markets, most times, you just don't know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. There's over a span of time, it makes sense. But day to day, it's like what big whale decided to sell today or what big whale decided to buy today. You don't even know. But today, with everything that's going on, with the tariffs and the economic uncertainty, when this sell-off started happening and gold was down $70, Joe and I were talking. This happened during COVID. COVID lost 33% of its market in 6 weeks, and gold went with it, but gold went down less, right? And then gold rebounded, and that's when it ended up going to $2,000 later in the year. What's happening today is very understandable. Gold went down $70, and then it bounced all the way back to it was only down $9. And Joel and I were talking. We were talking about how, that makes a whole lot of sense. Everyone's selling off, and it's like, what do you do? I don't want to park it in cash. We all know about inflation. Put it in gold. And this is paper gold, mind you. Yep. This is paper gold prices. This is
they're putting right. They're not buying the dip on Wall Street.
I see it down $25. Now I see gold down $25. this makes sense. Joe and I were saying, you know what? This is going to be a bumpy ride today because there's going to be little waves of these sell-offs. And why do I get the feeling that gold's going to bounce back up to that only $10 down or go up today? If gold ends up today, watch out tomorrow, right, Joe?
I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised at that at all. But just to very quickly, Apple is getting hammered today, and people are out. Everybody lowering their forecast now for Apple. People are acting shocked. Oh, my God, why didn't Apple get an exception, right? Oh, they should have got an exception. It is hard for us to imagine, but Trump is blowing up an American icon. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Apple was struggling. Apple had started to struggle. They are behind in AI. They are behind in product development. They've had to replace a bunch of people because these new products haven't been working, haven't been delivered. And again, Citigroup. If Apple can't get exempted here, they're saying that we estimate a huge negative impact to the company's gross margin. It looks pretty tough. Simple thought is likely Apple products are going to be subject to the tariff. Thus, demand will get hit. Thus, the supply chain will suffer. You guys kind of get the idea. Apple down double digits, Microsoft down, NVIDIA down, Amazon down, Alphabet, Meta, Tesla, you name it, all of them down. Because, listen, it's where all the stuff's made. And you just can't snap your fingers and build a plant to make, I don't know, iPhones or chips. Listen, for those of you that live in Arizona, you'll know what I'm talking about. Right up the I-17 here, right? We got Taiwan Semi, right? Billions and billions of dollars under Biden to build these plants. Chip plant. We've got one of them up and running now. One. It took 3 years for the plant to get built. 3 years. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not like we've got these huge plants sitting there. And you got to understand, I don't think it's hard for people to understand how big these plants are. I mean, at one point when they were building the plant here, I want to say there was something like 23 cranes. You know, when you're building, I'll call it a high-rise, a 4 or 5 story building, apartment building, there's one crane. If it's really big, maybe 2. There was 23. I don't understand. This doesn't make a lot of sense outside of, Jason, we got to get some money because Donald Trump wants to. Listen, we know what he wants to do, right? I want to give tax cuts. I don't want to tax Social Security wages. I don't want to tax overtime, right? All these great promises, they all sound great. It's not how it works. And think about the size of the tariff. Take China as the example. 54%. You know why? Because that's probably what they anticipate. Well, gosh, it's got to be that high to get Apple to build plants here, right? I mean, Jason, it's outrageous when we think about what these tariffs are going to be. Now, are they going to be negotiated or whatnot? It appears like that. That's what they're saying. Which in that case, think about it if you're a big business, okay? Think about what I just said. Okay? Let's just, you know what, I'll use a Trump term. Let's use warp speed. We're going to use warp speed to get production rebuilt in the United States, okay? Warp speed. So instead of 3 years, maybe they can do it in 18 months. I don't think they can. It's just, you got to have everything. You got to have the land, the space, the power, the roads. You got to. But let's just say you could. Okay, 18 months. But wait. You're saying that, well, you know what? If these countries, do this or that, you'll take the tariffs away. What do you think that says? It tells these companies, don't do anything yet. Right? They've got to wait because if the tariff goes away, right, I'm not going to build the plant here. No way. Yeah. Have you figured it out yet? Oh, boy. Batten down the hatches. We got a great opportunity coming up next. Stay with us. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on, I guess, Liberation Thursday. I'm down. Listen, we're going to be out of inexpensive products quickly here. I've got 70 20s. I don't have 71. I don't have 75. I don't have 100. At $3,195. After that 70, it's going to be $3,250. I've got a really, really good feeling, as you guys know, about where gold is heading. Please take advantage in being able to buy this close to spot. I promise you. We go into recession, and you guys know how it is. You guys will start. You won't be able to run to the phone fast enough to get more gold put away. You won't. And the premiums are going to go crazy. $20 gold, $31.95. Let me give you an idea on silver. Yesterday, U.S. Silver Eagles were $835. Today, $785 for a roll of Silver Eagles. Jump on it. Dimes at $130. Quarters at $260. Half dollars, $265. I will say this. As you're buying your gold, add some silver into it. 800-951-0592. We did have some data today. Let me really quickly get to it. Jobless claims, just like I told you. They didn't go anywhere. 219,000. What? Is nobody getting fired? I don't know. ISM service sector. Now, this is not manufacturing. This was service. Collapsed in March. So this really caught the markets off guard. The February reading, and this was a March reading. The February reading was 53.5. This one of those were 50. Anything above 50 is good. They were looking for 53. It came in at 50.8. So barely any growth in the service sector. And by the way, employment in that sector sucked according to the data. And the only reason why it was 50.8 is because all the prices went up. And then last but not least, Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. Planned layoff announcements. It was like the biggest number, I don't know, I'm forgetting how many years, like 40, 50 years, maybe, 36 years. 280,000 planned layoffs. By the way, most of those coming out of the federal government. So Challenger, Gray, and Christmas said, listen, the government's just now notifying that these layoffs are coming. So, Jason, I don't think these people have been fired yet. But now that the notices are in, it's coming. So we'll see how that impacts the market. And then, of course, J.P. Morgan today. Bad, bad, bad. That was what they said about the Trump tariffs. Everybody talking about the largest tax increase. They're telling you it's a tax increase. Okay? They're not saying tax increase, right? They're telling you we want to cut taxes. This is a tax increase. Everyone's going to pay more. Going back, they're saying it may be the largest tax rate in the history of the human race. This is what they're saying that the effects of this are. And everyone's saying the same thing what I just said. Because, listen, if Donald Trump had come out and just said, hey, these are it, and they're staying there. There is no negotiations. This is it. Then maybe we could get this investment. And I hear, everyone's going to come back and invest in the United States. And if you turn on the idiot box, that's what they say. I just laid it out for you. No, they're not. Why? Because the Trump cronies are telling you, well, you know what, we're going to negotiate here. They can get lowered. Well, then, Jason, this could actually be the worst thing possible because now these companies for the next 30, 60, 90 days are probably going to do nothing until they get clarity. And that's the thing. And I knew this. I worried. And I told you all, we're probably going to be left with even more uncertainty. And that's, I think, exactly what we're getting right now. Because, if you're Apple, if you're any of these companies, right, that build things here, you're going to wait. Right? You're going to wait. Because you're telling me the tariff may only be, the countries we don't really trade with, it's only 10%. So is China going to go to 10% if they, buy more soybeans? I don't know. So they're going to wait.
Well, I mean, you talked about how the stocks for Apple are crashing hard. It just seems to me that they're probably just going to see if they can wait this thing out and not ship anything. Why do I get the feeling that their companies, we're not going to ship and we're going to wait, right, Joe? Well, you got to sell a certain amount of products. Waiting doesn't work, right, Joe? I bet a lot of these companies shipped up as much as they could, as fast as they could before this thing hit. And I'll bet Apple's one of them. Yep. They loaded up their stores and warehouses in America, and they're going to sit and wait. But you can see how their investors think about sitting and waiting. They don't like it very much. There is some of these big stocks, unbelievably so. There's some of these big stocks that are making gains, which means they're consolidating in the stock market. That's not good because consolidation starts. It kind of never stops. And once it's consolidated, then there's only one thing to sell. Everything that got consolidated. So this 1,500 point downturn on the Dow and almost 1,000 points on the NASDAQ. And then there's consolidation to try to prop the bigger ones up, Joe. This is definitely sending large bells and whistles that you better heed Joe's word about buying gold, Joe. You better heed the word.
Right. Listen to this. BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, Volkswagen are saying that they are going to hike prices and halt shipments, according to Bloomberg. Now, here's the thing. Hey, we're going to see. We'll talk about expanding in the U.S. to avoid the 25%. But is the 25% going to go away? Uh-oh. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Right? How long is this uncertainty going to last? It's going to be the big issue. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. $20 gold. The last of it here, $31.95. And I would run to the phone. Run. Get it done. This was worse than I expected, really. You know, a 20% across the board would have been fine. Okay, would have been fine. But this huge amounts, and then, by the way, maybe you can lower it later. That just paralyzes companies. You're paralyzed. I don't see how we don't avoid an economic calamity here, because I just don't see it. Jason, I mean, we're going to have significantly higher prices all across the board. Can we generate some revenue from this? Maybe $400 billion, maybe, which is a lot. It's a lot. But what is it going to do? The problem is, I think that $400 billion is going to be lost on tax revenue. Tax revenue is already coming in light, right? It's not going to get better; it'll be worse. And of course, these clowns think, everybody can get a tax cut. No, they can't. It's not going to work, Jason.
I think it was
I'm frustrated here. This is horrible.
I think it's on purpose, Joe. We deal with lagging numbers. We talked about this. I think those in the know, those that have the actual facts and figures and really know this, the ones that actually run the game, I think the calamity, the emergency economically, it was going to happen anyways. Trump has spoken several times about he likes economic warfare. It's better than, conventional warfare. So I think he's declaring economic warfare because he'd rather, hey, if things are going to blow up, I don't want all the blame. Hear me, that's president in America, when things blow up. I want the blame to be shared, and have other countries and companies, react to whatever I'm doing with tariffs and any other policy, because it was going to blow up anyways. Joe, at some point this thing was going to blow up. So why not control the narrative, which is what this is? And you're right, Joe. Joe's telling you 20%. 20%, that makes no sense. Well, unless you're trying to blow it up on purpose, knowing that it's going to blow up at some future point anyways, let's control the narrative. Let's get this thing going. And when I take a shot and someone takes a shot back, well, yeah, I took the first shot by doing this. But by then, China or some company like Apple or whatever starts taking shots back, now it's a fight. Now I can go back and forth, and suddenly you can blame back and forth. I think that's what this is, Judge. It's always, when it comes to the economics, the bankers know this. Put the blame on someone else.
Yeah. I'm going to just tell you, this nonsense of it can go down is the killer. That's just, you're basically telling businesses, don't do anything yet. Let's see what happens, right? And that's going to be the killer.
But Joe, wasn't that COVID? Wasn't that COVID?
Yeah.
Instead of a pandemic shutdown, is this a tariff shutdown? It's just a shutdown. Are we looking at a shutdown? Are you basically saying, we're going to go up, and then maybe we'll go down, and you create this confusion, and everybody just freezes? This is how they got that 6-week market crash, and then they bounced it back with printing. Is this the same thing, Joe? And then what emergency are they going to add to this so that we can be diverted? I'm going to tell you,
I think used car prices are going to skyrocket now. If all of these German companies are, there's a Porsche, right? They're all saying we're not going to ship any cars. We're going to have no cars again. Really, is this what we're going to go back to? Oh my
2021, Joe.
Bank of America.
It happened in 2021. Yeah. Number one asset, used cars.
Right. That's right.
2021, used cars. You shut it down, and then used cars. I mean, look at how per capita. What were used cars in Cuba? Remember, they had the Cuba all shut down. They're still driving 57 Chevys around in Cuba because they can't bring any new cars in. I mean, that's we're getting a very minor version of that. It looks like.
Bank of America now saying its new gold target $3,500. Oh, here we go. Right. Of course. They were $2,800 a week and a half ago. They just can't stop raising it. They already raised it last week. Here's what they're saying. Now, I don't know. I know that China said their insurance companies could start buying gold. Bank of America is saying that China is mandating 300 metric tons from Chinese insurance companies. That's the first I've heard. I heard they could, but according to Bank of America now, they're saying that China is mandating this to their big insurance companies, and Bank of America now says that don't be surprised if central banks triple their total purchases over the next several years. In other words, Bank of America now saying, hey, these trade tariffs, this is going to lead to more bankers, more gold buying from central banks, right? You know, America being the bully here. Last but not least, if we get peak retail investors, add another $600 to it. So Bank of America now pretty much saying, we don't want to tell you $4,100 gold. We'll tell you $3,500. But then if the retail guy comes in, it's going to be very close to where Goldman is. Remember, Goldman's talking about $4,500 before the end of the year, Jason.
Yeah, well, you get things going in the wrong direction. It's funny how it seems like they have a new idea where gold's going to be every day. Should we go on the air, Joe, and throw out what we think gold's going to be differently every single day? We usually try to at least map it out a few months at a time and just have a prediction once in a while. We don't do it. Hey, it's Tuesday.
No,
it's time to get new gold forecast. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, they're just scrambling every freaking, it seems like almost every 24 to 48 hours. Is there a confidence in the dollar? Uh-oh. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Liberated. How liberated do you feel right now? $20 gold, $31.95, $3,195. Rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles, $785. I mean, gosh, it was $835 yesterday. $785 on rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles today at 800-951-0592. We know the Dow's down 1,400 plus points. The NASDAQ's off 220. Got at one point, the S&P down to 220. The NASDAQ down just below 900. At one point, the NASDAQ was down like 1,000 points today. A lot of that, and really all of them were under pressure, Microsoft, NVIDIA, but Apple, the largest here, and now Deutsche Bank, their global head of foreign exchange, saying that this policy is creating maybe fears of a dollar confidence crisis, and said all eyes need to be on China right now and how they are going to respond. And Jason, this is a big enough, right? China can't adjust this before. So here's the thing: the Chinese were going to be stronger today, right? Not weaker, stronger. Right, that's a problem. We always said, hey, at 10% or 20%, you can mess around with some foreign currency exchange and make it not so bad. Can't do it at 54. Can't. That dog doesn't hunt. And now I think it'll be interesting. Same goes for the EU. What is Europe going to do? And when we look at these countries that are sitting there and going to have workers idled, plants idled, right? Jason, they're not going to be real happy. So obviously what we want to have happen is, I don't know, what if they all just laid down and said, okay, what do you want us to do trade-wise? Okay, we'll do it. Now there's no tariffs. Then what happens, right? Then we'd have no money for anything else. And this is it's almost like it was set up to force it not to work. That's just what it feels like.
How many times have we said that we're in a situation where things aren't going to work? There's no good choices, right, Joe? There's just not a good choice. And one of the things we always will debate is, Is something purposely being done, or is this just the market's responding to things just being broken? So, it's we've said it how many times before today? Because today is definitely things are heating up now. Hey, they want to inflate their way out, Joe. I mean, what you just said earlier about cars. Well, we're gonna mark the margin up, and if we make $1,000 a car, well, we're done shipping cars until we see what happens with tariffs, and we'll just we'll put our margin to $2,000 a car. Yeah. We sell half as many cars, or $3,000. Yeah. We'll make $3,000 a car. We only have to sell 1/3 the cars that we normally sell, and we'll see if we can wait it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Like I said, I was 20% across the board. I thought we could deal with it. This is totally different, and I can understand. Listen, I get what Wall Street's doing. That just makes sense to me. This just means lockup. That's just what I see. Everyone waiting and doing nothing.